Okay, let's try this. This is episode 1 of the Nuclear Dad, and I am your host, E.C. McKeever. I figured with the first episode, let's get the preliminaries out of the way. Um, I am trying a wonderful platform, Anchor FM, Anchor.fm. Now, I've done a podcast before with Anchor. Actually, I started it during the pandemic. Only did about 2 or 3 episodes. Life got a little complicated, and I put the pause on it. And also, I wasn't sure if I was going to continue with the project that I was doing. Obviously, I did not. I took some time off, figured out some things, figured out a new way of creating content, and started a whole new company, which is the Nuclear Dad. So, this is episode 1, and this is just a test. So, if this doesn't get any listeners, all good. I just want to check the audio and fill it out. So let's see where this takes us. Now I am adjusting my microphone settings. I'm not talking very loud because I feel like you shouldn't have to when you're doing a podcast. So I'm playing around. I want to see how this goes before I get into any pertinent information or any cool anecdotes. This is all just a test. It is Sunday morning, May 22nd, 2022. I have my coffee. I'm in my little homemade studio in my basement. My wife is upstairs with my youngest son. The other little ones are not up yet, which is ironic because on school days, they never want to get up. On the weekends, they're up bright and early. At least my little guy. My little guy is an early riser, which surprises me because I am not. And neither is my wife, really. But he's up. He tends to wake everybody up. And then, we have to adjust and get things moving according to him. So it's going good. I just did a test of the first minute. Audio sounds good. This is minute number 2. So I'm gonna see how this goes. And the good thing about Anchor is you can start, stop, add things to your episode, tweak it, delete, re-add things, take things out. So it's pretty good so far. Let's see how this goes. I'm enjoying this. This is okay. Okay. So the first 2 minutes and 49 seconds, let's say 3 minutes, sounds pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this train moving. This is good so far. I like it. I have some recycled material from my music recording days, which is my microphone and my preamp, and now I have a new pop filter and a little tiny sound booth that goes around the microphone. But I noticed that Anchor's technology is really good. It picks up a lot of background noise, which doesn't happen when I'm recording on this mic outside of Anchor. So kudos to Anchor FM for stepping up the tech. I don't think it was this good last time I did it, which was 2 years ago. So whoever's working on the back end tech, kudos to you. But let's get this train rolling. This is the Nuclear Dad episode 1. So right about now, we're going to drop in the intro and we're going to get this thing moving.
Hello, and welcome to the Nuclear Dad. I'll be your host and tour guide, A.C. McKeever. We'll do some sightseeing and have some conversations about all things dad related. Now, I can't promise everything will be politically correct, but I do promise to keep things interesting. So for all you superhero dads and awesome husbands, step aboard. It's the Nuclear Dad.
The Nuclear Dad Blogcast is sponsored by Family Man Magazine and thenucleardad.com. Family Man Magazine will be available this Father's Day, June 19th, 2022. Okay, that was the little Al Green, little love and happiness. So obviously now I can only play this episode on Spotify. but that's okay. Al Green is worth it. I cannot repurpose this to YouTube. Maybe a clip or two, which is cool. I'll repurpose it on the different platforms. But love and happiness, that's what it's all about, right? This is why I started the Nuclear Dad. This is actually an ode to my father, who passed away in 2008. Miss you, Dad. I love you. This is about you, the example that my father set for me, my father and my mother, till death do they part, or did they part. They lived up to their vows, and that's what I want to have, right? I am married with children, not like the TV show, because I was extremely unhappy. You know, he was a man that was living below his potential, and that's one of the things I want to focus on with this. I want this to be a place for fathers, for husbands. My demographic is married men with children, but that does not exclude people who are single fathers, people who are married without children. They are not excluded from the conversation. But I would love to see more marriages. I would love to see more families. And it feels like, to me, based on my observation of society, that the nuclear family is dying. I'm going to pull up some stats in a minute so I can tell you exactly, or from a macroscopic view, just how fast things are declining. The state of things is not looking good. I'm sipping my coffee. The state of things are not looking good for families, for nuclear dads, for nuclear moms for that matter, and nuclear children. It is funny to name nuclear. I told my wife about it, and she was like, nuclear? She hadn't heard of the term nuclear family. And I don't think a lot of people have, because it just goes to show that this is not talked about as much as it was, say, 40, 50 years ago. I mean, you ask, I'm 38. I'll be 38 this fall. So if you ask our parents or our grandparents what a nuclear family is, oh, they'll tell you, you know, husband, wife, some kids, maybe a dog, maybe a cat, a goldfish. Pets are not mutually exclusive to the term, but a family, that's what it's about. That is the backbone of society. Families build neighborhoods, neighborhoods build communities, communities build countries, right? And I know part of what we're seeing in society is the dwindling down of the ideology that marriage is important. The field that I work in, I'm what you would call a alternative health practitioner. A fancy way of saying massage therapist. I've been a massage therapist for almost 20 years, which is crazy to think about, doing something for 20 years. This is 2022, and I'm about 3 weeks away from the date of my high school graduation. And, you know, you would see movies like, I don't know if you guys remember Romy and Michelle's high school reunion back in the day with, I don't remember the name, the chick that played Phoebe on Friends and some other lady. But it was all about their high school reunion and the fact that they hadn't done anything with their lives. So when you think 20 years out, people would assume that you are successful, you have a family, you have a career, your life is looking good, but that is not life. Because in that movie, those two women were single, right? And, you know, some of their peers I don't remember everything about the movie, but I watched it because I was a fan of Friends back in the day. So Phoebe, whatever her real name is, the lady who played Phoebe, I liked her. Sarah Kudrow, Michelle Kudrow, something Kudrow, whatever. I was a fan of hers, so I watched the movie, and what I take from it now, all these years later, after not seeing it for at least a decade, is the idea of being older, not middle-aged, but not a young adult, right there in that 30-something groove, approaching 40. When you're young, your idea of what that looks like is different than what reality is. Now, some people have a plan. Some people's plan is, go to school, go to college, get a career, find a mate, be married by this age, this many kids by that age. Some people are really regimented, and that's how it used to be. And that's the whole point of what I'm saying. Things have changed. The nuclear family, the ideology of the nuclear family has gotten down to the point where if you're married, or if you're a man thinking about getting married, you might hear friends say, at least I did, why would you want to do that? You want to get married? Why would you want to get married? All of this kitty cat out here, all of these girls out here, you want to take yourself off the market? But nobody wants to be 40, 45, still living a player life. Now, if you're married and divorced, I get it. I don't plan on getting divorced. I don't think a lot of people do, but divorce rates are high. I don't think people go into marriage with a plan. I know people who they get married and they spend a lot of money on the day and don't plan for the future. And it's something that I don't want to say I want to combat it, but I want to give people a different perspective on marriage, on family, on being husbands, on being fathers. Of course, women can listen to this. This is not a misogynistic program. There's no women bashing here. We might talk about you a little bit, but we're not going to bash you. Excuse me. Because I don't believe in that. I don't believe in tearing anyone down to build yourself up, because that's not productive. It's not constructive. So this is all positive vibes. I may say some things that might ruffle some feathers. I'm cool with that. But there's no woman bashing here. But this is definitely positive dad talk, positive husband talk. I want to lift people up. I want to give people a leg to stand on. I want to give fathers that pat on the back, because we don't get that. I don't see that anywhere. And I haven't looked everywhere, but from what I've seen so far, I haven't seen a whole lot of love for families, for men, for husbands, for fathers. Now, over the years, I've seen a whole lot of man bashing, which I'm not even going to get into at the moment. Let's keep it moving, though. Okay, that was Bobby Caldwell, What You Won't Do for Love. Yeah, how many people thought Bobby Caldwell was a black man? I know I did. First time I heard that song was in a Tupac sample, right? Like, we heard the Tupac joint, and we just assumed, at least I assumed. And then I heard it later on in life and was like, oh snaps, Bobby Caldwell is white. Man, that boy got some soul. He grew up eating collard greens. Anyway, back to the conversation. I like that song because it's a positive love song, right? It's what you won't do for love. What will you do for love? You tried everything, but you won't give up. In my world, only you could make me do for love what I would not do. A round of applause to that man. He set the tone. That is what it's about. Love conquers all, right? It's all about the love. It's all about finding that special lady and treating her right, and hopefully things will work out. And that's what we all pray for. That's what we all want. Now, I'm looking at some stats here, and let's see, I'm just going to read something off. As a result of the C-19 pandemic and varying states of lockdown all over the United States and the world, we may be in for the largest single-year increase in divorce rates in decades. We will keep track of any reports and data that come over the next year and report here. What we know so far: Jurisdictions all over the world and in nearly every city in the U.S. have reported significant increases in domestic violence. Relationships experiencing problems are likely being stressed to the point of breaking by factors such as lockdown, financial strain, and political discord. We won't have a full picture of the fallout until 2021 at the earliest. Now, obviously, this is an old article, but just think about the fact that in the last 2 years, things have gotten really bad. Let's see something else. In 2019, the latest data available, the marriage rate in the United States was 1.6 per 1,000 total population. In the same year, the divorce rate is 2.7 per 1,000 population, which is 44 states and DC reporting. This is known as the crude divorce rate. Although useful for describing changes in divorce rates over time, the crude divorce rate does not provide accurate information on the percentages of first marriages that end in divorce. As of 2019, both marriage rates and divorce rates in the U.S. are decreasing, with the marriage rate dropping from 8.2% per 1,000 people in 2000 to 6.1%, and the divorce rate going from 4.0% in 2000 to 2.7%. Recent studies have shown that millennials are choosing to wait longer to get married and staying married longer, and are the main driver in the decline for both the marriage and the divorce rate in the U.S. So what does that mean? That means that this generation, the millennials, people under 40, are waiting longer to get married. They're obviously, they're working on their careers. They're trying to build up a bank, get some money. They're traveling. Van life is big. People out here living their best lives. And then they're getting married later, which means less children, more of a chance for a divorce. Because for one, you've had more life experience, right? You didn't get a chance to grow with that person. And back in the day, the grandparents, the great-grandparents, they may have been married by 25 at the latest. You hear stories of older generations being married at 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. I mean, you think about in the 1930s, by age 25, you already had 3, 4, 5 kids, a house and a career, and mom stayed home. And the decade following, what did we have? We had a World War II. The husbands went off to fight. Some of them didn't make it back home. But what happened to the wives? The wives went to work. They went to the factories. They were producing the armaments and, the different things needed to fight that war. And that trend has followed in the preceding decades. Women were working. Men may not have been at war, but men were working. Women were working. And then you had babysitters and nannies and daycare. So the family was split in a couple of different ways. Mom wasn't home raising the kids anymore. Mom and dad were out working and get the kids off to the daycare, or if you had a grandparent living at home, they would watch them. And sometimes in those cases, it was better because at least you had an older matriarch, right? An older family member. But now we're sending our kids off to these people we don't know them. We don't have a personal relationship. We try to vet the establishments as much as we can before sending our children off. But a lot of times it's about convenience. Is it close to home or is it close to work? But you don't know some of these people. Yeah, background checks, everything. But that can't guarantee that this person is a good person. They may have the training. They may have the applicable knowledge to help with the child rearing, because they're just babysitters, right? And that used to be a job for teenage girls back in the day. A lot of young ladies my age and older, That was their first job. They babysat the kids in the neighborhood. Some women didn't go to work, and they watched their own kids along with some other children from the neighborhood or from the family. And where am I going with all of this? What I'm saying is, based on those statistics that I just read, marriage rates are declining, divorce rates are going up. So what does that mean for the population? That means that, again, the nuclear family is on life support. What are we going to do as a collective? It starts at home, starts with the individual family, but what are we going to do as a collective to change the narrative? I follow quite a few people on social media, and one thing I see is people selling lifestyle, people advocating for education, which I'm cool with. Get your education, but I don't see a lot of marriages. I don't see a lot of families. I see relationship goals, but these relationship goals are two pretty people, guy with a shirt off, girl with a bikini, on some exotic beach, which is all good, right? You got the pictures, you got the memories, you got the likes, you got the follows, but where is your legacy? And I know that haunts some people. You may have had Mr. Right. You may have had Mrs. Right when you were 21, 22, and something happened. And now they're in the wind. Now I know, all my exes know, that I'm the one that got away. Because growing up, I was the only kid with a dad. Now, I may have had some friends from school that had both parents, but in the neighborhoods I lived in, and the guys that I was hanging out with, I was the only one with my biological father in the house. Now, I had one homie, shout out to TJ if you ever listen to this. I'm not going to put your real name out there, but shout out to TJ. Tebow, as we call him. He's a little guy. He's a bully, though. That's my guy. But Tebow lived with his biological father. He didn't live with his mother. And his dad was, nuclear dad, ultimate dad. He had a bunch of siblings, and his daddy took care of all of them for whatever reason. I don't know the backstory of his family dynamics, but I know he lived with his father. And everybody else, they lived with their either single mothers or a stepfather in the house. So they had male figures, but the biological mom and dad, where are they as a unit raising babies? I didn't get married till I was in my 30s, which I guess is normal now because, like I just said, the millennials are waiting longer. For me, it wasn't about building up a career. I used to be a rapper. I was out living that rapper life. So it was diamonds and foreigns and groupies and, the whole nine, which was fun. But I kind of wish that I would have gotten married sooner. But if I would have, it wouldn't have been with who I'm with now. And that's the person I was meant to be with. I married my high school sweetheart. We dated as kids, on and off, broke up, make up, break up, as they say. And the final time we broke up was when we were like 18 or 19. And then I didn't see her again until I was 30. 12 years. 12 years went by before I saw this woman again. And by the time we reunited, she had a 10-year-old daughter. And I didn't have any children. Because one thing I did not want to be was a baby daddy. No disrespect, but I wanted what I saw my parents have. I wanted what they had. I wanted a family. My father was married twice. His second marriage was to my mother. So I have half siblings that I don't really have a real relationship with. Yeah, we follow each other on social media, but by the time I was born, they were adults or practically adults. Like my father was in his 40s when he had me, but he had his first child at 18. So that means 18. My oldest brother was an adult, and my youngest was, I'm sure, was a late teenager. So my mother was his second marriage, and they stayed together until he passed. But that's what I wanted. I wanted what I saw my parents have. I wanted to be married before I had kids. I didn't want a bunch of baby moms because all my friends, my colleagues in the rap game, they all had kids just about, and nobody was married. They was arguing with the baby moms, and a lot of them was in the street, so it wasn't no child support happening because they didn't have any income to report, right? But I wanted to be the antithesis of what I saw in a large majority of the people that I was around, that I grew up with, that I was associated with. I didn't want a bunch of women chasing me down for pamper money, for formula money. I wanted to be a father. I wanted a stable home for my children. I didn't want to have them on the weekend. Oh, phone call. It's the wife calling me. I gotta pause that. I didn't want to have that. I wanted something real. Sorry about that. The wife was calling me. I should have had my phone on vibrate. We have this party to go to for one of these kids in my son's class, birthday party. I really don't want to go. And nothing against the kid, nothing against the party, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. I want to stay locked in this mode. But this episode is going to be, I'm shooting for about 30-40 minutes, so I guess that's long enough. But anyway, back to the point. I wanted what my parents had. I wanted a nuclear family. I wanted to be able to provide for them financially and emotionally and spiritually by any means. Well, not any means, because I want to make sure everything's legal and on the up and up. But I wanted to be able to provide for my family, and I wanted that love. I wanted that solid unit. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to make it work. I just knew, like Bobby Caldwell, I would try everything and I wouldn't give up. Right? That's what we're talking about. Staying locked in to the mission. The mission isn't over until you leave this earth. Don't leave your family. Don't abandon your sons. Don't abandon your daughters. Don't abandon your wife. The Nuclear Dad Blogcast is sponsored by Family Man Magazine and thenucleardad.com. Family Man Magazine will be available this Father's Day, June 19, 2022. Let's Stay Together by Al Green. Man, I'm telling you, the best love songs was before our generation. I don't care what anybody says. Maybe it was the vinyl, maybe it was the live music in the background, I don't know. But music has definitely lost its feel, it's lost its appeal to me. I only listen to gospel now. Every once in a while I might listen to, something crazy, but not too much of the new music. It doesn't do it for me anymore. Sometimes some of the newer songs may have catchy vibe, but I've been listening to gospel, man. Adult contemporary gospel. I can't find, I'm in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia to be exact. I can't find the old school soulful gospel music, but what's on the radio now, it'll do. It's like, you want mom's cooking or you want Popeyes or KFC. Popeyes and KFC will do. It's not bad, but it ain't like mom's, and that's how I feel about the gospel music. But I need something positive in my spirit, when I'm starting my day, when I'm moving, when I'm traveling, or classical. Classical keeps me mellow, especially during, times of angst, when the tensions are up, when the traffic is bad, when you've had a rough day. Low classical, low gospel mellows me right out, keeps me keeps me in my groove, keeps me focused, keeps my mind sharp, keeps me positive. And I think that's part of what makes this work for me. Family, marriage, life, at this stage in life, keeping my mind focused on the task at hand, not letting my thoughts stray. But I think we're gonna wrap up about here. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm doing. As my one of my teachers would say, "Are you picking up what I'm putting down?" Shout out to her. Shout out to the CEO Drive Her. She definitely motivated me, lit a fire up under me. I mean, all these things that I'm doing now, I planned on doing. I just didn't know how I was going to do it. And she gave me some insight, helped me conceptualize my ideas. And the Nuclear Dad was born about 6 weeks ago. The idea for it was born about 6 weeks ago. And there's all kind of other cool stuff that's going to be implemented. But I think right now, the easiest and the most pertinent thing to do is to start the conversation, to light the fire, to spark the interest of all interested parties, right? Because there is I want to say fairly large segment, it's underrepresented with the numbers, but it's a fairly large segment of people, and men in particular, who are not in crisis, not dating, not looking for a person. There's a good portion of us who have found our person. We found our forever girl, right? And this is who I am talking to primarily. Anybody else, you're welcome to pick up the jewels. You're welcome. I'm gonna drop them all over the place. You pick up as many jewels as you can. You put them in your pocket and you run with it. But for my men who are married, for my men who are fathers, this is for you. This is for us. This is my dedication to my father, the ultimate nuclear dad, my superhero, who showed me how to walk this walk and talk this talk. This is about him. This is about me. This is about us. This is about you, the listener on the other end. You're doing a great job if nobody's told you. High five, fist bump, chest bump, pound, however you greet other men, hug, pat on the back, whatever. This is about you. From me to you. You're doing a good job. You are appreciated. Keep up your stride. Keep your head up. Stay strong. Stay vigilant. Stay positive. Stay cool. Peace.